Ta-da! We're live. I just realized I don't have headphones on, but it doesn't matter. So I'm not talking to anyone who's not in this room right now. And our audio looks good. And I think we're ready. You ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready. All right. We're gonna wait for some people to start showing up in the live viewers, and then we're gonna start. You excited?
I noticed there's a Skyrim coaster in that picture.
Is there? Oh yeah, it's one of the Skyrim ones. Yeah, that was fun.
That's good stuff.
It's actually fun running around Ashley and Justin's apartment. There's a whole bunch of our stuff there.
Oh,
like the
Battlestar
Galactica pistol. Our friends, but the folks watching, our friends, I was crashing with this weekend. Over the years, have collected several of our things. Mm-hmm. So a Battlestar Galactica pistol, like our Kickstarter poster. What else? Just lots of little knickknacks. Some of April's jewelry. It's fun. It's fun going and visiting your friends. I've never been to their house before. You get to their house and you're like, oh, you guys like my thing. That's so nice.
You didn't throw them in the garbage.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Just about ready to get started. As soon as that thing says we have viewers, we're going to go. We're going to roll. We have one viewer.
Yay! Welcome.
Hello, our one viewer.
It's probably my mom.
It probably is your mom.
Hi, Mom. No, it's East Coast there, so it'll be 8 o'clock. I don't know.
Your mom a night owl like that?
Yeah, actually she is.
Yeah. Cool. 4 viewers. All right. People are starting to roll in here. I think we're ready to get started. Hopefully everything is tip-top and ready to go. All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Prop Live. It's Bill Doran here from Punished Props. This is the show that we do every single week where we take your prop and costume making questions and answer them to the best of our abilities. This week is a special episode. I have a special person here with me. This is Brittany, my wife. Hey, Britt.
Hi.
Britt does all the behind the scenes stuff, and I mean like all the behind the scenes stuff here at Punished Props, including. Do we have one of our books here?
Yes,
right
we
there.
Do. Grab this one.
All right, including she did all the layout work and the legwork to get our Foamsmith book printed. Boom, right there. So for those of you who really, really wanted a print book of our Foamsmith trilogy, you can thank Brittany for it.
Hooray!
Hooray. And speaking of the Foamsmith trilogy book, if I can do this right here, the pre-orders are all shipped out. So if you pre-ordered the book, it's on its way to you, except for this one right here that got sent back. We'll send that out again tomorrow. The whole book is ready to order. So if you didn't get in on the pre-order, it's available now. You can purchase it on the website. We'll mail it out to you, signed, and all that wonderful stuff. So go over to punishprops.com and check that out. Ta-da! What else do we have before we start taking your questions? And you guys sent us a lot of questions. You seem pretty excited to chat with me and Brittany today. Before we do that, there's a couple of housekeeping things. One, I wanted to mention the Patreon. This is the funding device that we use to support this show. And we have 39 patrons, 39 of you wonderful people who are helping out with your money, $1 or $2 at a time to support the show. And we can't thank you guys enough.
Thank you.
Yeah, your support really, really means a lot to us, and it helps make this show work. Again, the show will always be free, but if you want to help out, you can. And that's patreon.com/punishedprops. We've got some really cool goals coming up, including more live streaming per week to bring more great content to you.
Dear listener.
Yes, yes. What else do we have on the list? Oh, so I just got back from Big Wow Comic Fest in San Jose by myself. Didn't get Britt to come with me. Britt was home. What were you doing while I was home or while I was out?
Painting space guns.
Yep, Britt was painting space guns. Britt was managing all of our social media.
That too. You
were taking care of the cats because they require a lot of attention.
They're high maintenance.
They sure are. But I was in Big Wow. It was a lot of fun. I brought and sold a bunch of books, did some panels, did the costume contest, met and hung out with a lot of my friends. That was a lot of fun, but then I stayed in the San Francisco Bay Area for a little while to see some of my friends. And I also got to go visit some cool places, including Autodesk, which I've been an Autodesk fanboy for a long time, and they have all the cool toys.
I am so jealous.
Yeah, it was really, really cool. And then I also got to go visit my friends at Tested, and here I am. Here's a picture of me. I was pretty happy to be hanging out in the Tested studios there, and bugging Will and Norm for an afternoon. So that was really fun.
I like how you had to touch the mic in that picture.
I did.
It's like I've been here.
I'm doing this, you guys. I'm like podcasting from here.
Did you steal anything? Put anything in your bag?
I didn't even think. They gave me so much stuff. They gave me a
true.
bunch of goodies. So I got some T-shirts and one of those mecha hand posters that Adam Savage did. So that was really cool. I gave them some things. I made some little doodads. Actually, I got to bring that up real quick. I made they have their little logo. Let me see if I can swap this over. I don't think I can. Anyway, they have these little logos of characters of them, and so I made some really quick. Anyway, that trip was a lot of fun, but I am happy to be back with my wife in front of the camera for you guys to answer your problem costume making questions. Do you have anything else on the list? No, we don't.
We're good.
We're good. We are ready to take your questions. So we're going to start. People were posting questions on our Facebook page earlier today, so we're going to start answering a couple of those. The Q&A app is running, so if you're watching live and you want to answer the question, those are going there too. All right, you ready to start?
Looks like Eric's watching too.
Eric is watching.
Hi, Eric.
Core Geek Props. Eric wants to know, do you have a power couple name like Brittany or Brill? No, we don't, Eric.
Those are horrible suggestions.
But you know what? You keep pondering on that, buddy. You keep working on it. See if you come up with something better. All right.
Sorry, that just caught my eye.
So Britt's got some questions for us, starting with a couple of very special questions for some very special people.
This one's from my mom. It's not a question.
No.
I don't know why I put this in here. Mom, you didn't follow the rules. She says, so proud to have a daughter and son-in-law as celebrities.
That's right.
Aww.
That's right. Jenny thinks we're celebrities. That's awesome. Well, I appreciate her sentiments.
Yeah, I'm glad she didn't disown us. I mean, could have happened.
Could. Who knows? And then the next one?
This one's from my sister.
Yep.
If you were a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
Which is, of course, a wonderful reference to The Tick.
Yes. I believe it was the episode with the whale, for those that
The blowhole?
Yes.
Blowhole the whale.
Yes.
I would be a Douglas fir, because that's the last... that bow I made a while ago was a Douglas fir. So that's what I'm going to go with.
Do dogwoods actually get to be dogs? Because that would be kind of cool.
I doubt it.
I'll have to think about that one.
All right. Thank you, Ginny and Lindsay, for your wonderful questions. All right. Do you want to take the next one from Nick there?
All right. Nick wonders, what grit sandpaper do you use on your belt sander for removing the texture on EVA floor mats?
I think that our belt sander has like an 80 grit on there, like 60 to 80 grit. It's pretty burly. And usually I'm just gluing the two surfaces together, so I don't worry about the surface quality on it. So that's good enough. Will's, I think, has 120 grit, which is a little bit finer for removing the texture. So if you're just going to laminate two surfaces together, you don't have to worry too much about using like a 220 or higher. So there you go. Ding. And usually like the 80 grit is what comes with a belt sander. All right, here we go. This next one from the Q&A app comes from someone calling him or herself, don't try this at home. The logo is a person on fire.
They've been on before.
Yes. Hello, Dorans. Finally nice to meet Britt.
Nice to meet you too.
As a small e-store, what makes a good website? I need my own legit e-store, and I know I want to own my domain and space and have it hosted, or so I think. How's that whole thing work? Thanks. You can run your store through Etsy, which a lot of people do, or like Store Envy or a number of other platforms. What you get out of that is a platform that already works. You don't have to figure it out yourself. And Etsy is a discovery platform. People go to Etsy, people who don't know who you are, go to Etsy to search for things, and they may stumble upon your stuff. Our store is hosted on our own website. What we lose out of that is we don't get that discovery aspect, but we get control. We can decide how it all is handled. So the way we do it, we use DreamHost for our website. We use for our domain and hosting. Then we use WordPress for the platform, and then we use a plugin called WooCommerce to run the store. And then about a dozen or two other plugins to make it all work.
Yeah, WordPress is great, but you do have to set everything up. It is like installing a bunch of plugins and hope they all work together.
We installed a new one today.
Yeah, I think the website still works, so that's good. Platforms like Etsy take a lot of the hands-on stuff from you. So if you just want to have items and not have any control over how they're sold, it's great. They have their own analytics I was checking out, which is really cool. So like we have had to set up ours on our website, but then it's a problem. It's not your platform.
Right.
What happens if Etsy goes away?
You also don't have to commit to one or the other.
No.
It's not exclusive. You could run your own store on your website and have the same products on Etsy. You could do both. We just mostly what we sell on our website now is like ebooks and print books. And I don't know that Etsy would be a good place for that. Although we may investigate that. So there you go. Hopefully something in that pile of words we just threw at you works out for you.
Yeah, I say do both if you're going to be selling lots of products.
Yeah, actual physical products.
Yeah.
All right. You want to grab the next one there?
From Jane?
Sure.
With 2 N's. How would you build something like this? Oh, okay. Do you have the reference
picture.
for this?
No, it's all right. It's a picture, but it's a rifle. Let me see here.
It's Fallout New Vegas.
Okay.
Campaign scout rifle, I believe.
And through the magic of the internet.
It's a nice side view. Actually looks like, doesn't even look like a game model. It looks like it's a Photoshop reference. Yep, that's the first one.
This guy right here. All right, so this is what Jane's making.
Whoops.
And wants to know how you might start building something like this, like what material you might make. Personally, I would build a lot of it out of MDF and styrene because that's what I like. The barrel would be probably PVC pipe that I would, build some other stuff on. But I would also mold and cast it because that's how I roll. I have a video on my YouTube channel, and we will link this in the description of this video. A video about making guns from MDF and styrene. So you will definitely want to go check that out. If you do build it out that way and don't mold and cast it, it'll still be good. It'll just be less durable and pretty heavy. So keep that in mind. You could also build it out of foam floor mats. I've got like my Destiny hand cannon video. If you go look that up on YouTube, you could use a lot of the similar techniques from that to build a gun like this. Depending on what you're going to end up using it for.
I see a couple of PVC pipes in there too.
Oh, totally.
If you're not going to be if you're just doing a one-off. I mean, that's all we buy those for. Right.
PVC pipes are basically just gun barrels.
And scopes.
All right. Thank you, Jane, for your question, and good luck with that build. This next one here comes from Jardine. I'm making an anime prop that looks like a semi-transparent blue large ice shard that starts from my elbow and extends outward like a blade. How do I make it using some kind of semi-transparent material? I really need help, but I don't have a lot of money.
That sounds like a character from Fairy Tail. He has a move that does that. Yeah, it just looks like a giant icicle. It's pretty awesome.
So you know what? I would actually, the transparent Worbla might be good for this. Mm-hmm. What you could do, because transparent Worbla is basically like a sheet of transparent plastic, you could cut it to shape, heat it with a heat gun, and deform it a bit to look like sort of a Ripley looking ice shard thing. And then you could tint it or paint like the backside of it just a little bit so that it's only semi-transparent.
Yeah, our friend from Lightning Cosplay, she's done some icicles with transparent Worbla, and It looks pretty sturdy. It reminds me of like the PET plastic.
Right.
So it looks like it would have a little bit of flexibility instead of making something really brittle. So you wouldn't accidentally, stab someone with it.
Good. So there you go. There's something for you to try out. A good use case. I would say people have asked me a lot about, hey, have you checked out transparent Worbla yet? I think people want to make a visor out of it. I think it'd be really hard to build a visor out of it. For the most part, you would vacuum form a visor out of acrylic or PETG.
Yeah.
The transparent Worbla, I think there are limited use cases for it, but Icicles are one of them.
Yeah, organic. I mean, Worbla is like that anyway. We used them for our horns, for our Draugr helmets, and it's just nice for our organic shape, so it's really hard to get anything smooth. And it has a texture.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Thank you, Jardine, for your question over there. Let's see.
All right. From Nicole. What is a less expensive alternative to hardening foam that isn't wood glue or Worbla?
So if you build out some armor out of foam and you want to seal it somehow, you don't always have to seal it, depending on the finish that you want to get. But if you want it to be more rigid, you can, and again, depending on the finish that you want, I like, what's it called? Epsilon. It's a resin. I mentioned it almost every episode. It's an epoxy resin. I don't know that it's less expensive though. What were the options that she said?
Wood glue and Worbla. So I mean, Worbla is not going to be. I mean, it's going to get hard to a point, but it's going to be flexible still, unless you have
a little bit though. But it would really make it more rigid.
Yeah,
though.
Yeah. It just has a texture to it.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to put something on top of that, and usually people use wood glue on top of Worbla.
Any PVA glues, like it'll be similar to your wood glue, but what's it called? Mod Podge is one of them that would work. If you want it to be more rigid, just add more layers. Make sure they all dry before you add more layers. There's other stuff you can spray on as well. Like a week or two ago, someone mentioned one that was used for covering your roof. I can't remember the name of it.
Through the roof.
Yeah, through the roof. There you go. That might be worth looking into. Again, I don't know how expensive it is. And they also make stuff that you spray on the truck bed lining. Also, you can spray it. Again, not exactly sure how much it costs. I've never used it before, but I do know that Weta uses that to cover a lot of their props or their set pieces that they want to look like stone. So they end up being fairly rigid. So hopefully one of those is something you can try out. Thank you, Nicole. All right, this next one is from Dustin. He says, I have an ugly seam on a pair of gauntlets, and I was wondering if there's a way to cover that seam to make it look like a solid, smooth surface. Well, I don't know what material you're using. I'm going to guess foam. Whenever I end up with a really ugly surface on some foam or seam between a couple pieces on foam that don't line up, I rebuild the piece. I either cut out something to cover it, or I'll accent it and like hit it with a hot knife to say, oh, the seam was totally supposed to be there. Or I rebuild the piece and do a better job on the seam.
Especially if it's just gauntlets. I don't think you've ever gone with your first gauntlets.
No.
You always make them twice.
Yeah.
Just tear apart the first one and use as a reference. I've seen Evil Ted cover his seam with a on purpose like 2 millimeter strip. So it's like a raised up strip. So it's like, totally intentional. I put that here, but really it was hiding a seam.
Yeah, I've done the same thing. Ted also mentioned that you can use something called Quick Seal to fill in your gaps. I haven't tried it before, but if I'm totally honest, anytime I've seen people try it, they kind of expect it to be like filling a piece of like wood gap with Bondo and sanding it down. You're not going to get that kind of finish. It's not going to be perfectly smooth afterwards. So best case scenario is to re-glue that seam. There you go, Dustin. All right.
My turn?
Go for it.
All right. Chris is wondering how he could go about making the wolf head pommel for the Witcher's sword. It's I know the one he's talking about.
What happens if I Google Witcher sword?
It looks similar to Jon Snow's sword too.
Oh yeah, it does. It's pretty similar to that.
Yeah.
Images.
That one might be good.
this.
That one actually looks like it might be one that someone made. Ah, how
All
convenient.
right, there it is. So there's the Witcher sword. There's this. Let's see if I can actually zoom in. Nope. In slowly. There we go. So there's like a wolf head thing up there.
There's a close-up one on the right. It looks like they went for a simpler, like hard
Oh,
look.
there you go. Yeah.
It usually has more spiky fur cheeks on it. What would you use?
Where did I go?
What would you use to make that?
I would probably sculpt that out of something like Sculpey or
Super Sculpey. Yeah.
Yeah, Super Sculpey is really good. Or I would use what's it called?
Your two-part epoxy.
Yeah, freeform Sculpt or epoxy Sculpt. They're both very similar. It's an epoxy putty. You mix two pieces together. And you could probably use that Sculpt just right out of the gate the way it is. Or you could mold and cast it, which is what I would probably do. That way the casting is like a nice urethane resin. That's a pretty small piece, so molding and casting it wouldn't be that tricky. Probably a 1-part mold.
Yeah, that would be a fun one to learn on because it's small, not a lot of material.
Yeah, definitely.
Make copies for your friends.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Or sell them on Etsy.
Yeah, there you go.
Then you could be the wolf head pommel guy. Alrighty. Cool. This one here. The next question. Oh, and the last one was from who did that last question? Chris. Thank you, Chris, for your question.
Thank you, Chris.
This one is from Tim. He wants to know, again, another visual thing here. So I'm going to copy and paste the link there.
This is probably not the best for our podcast version.
He says he wants to know what this crown is made of.
Did April post
I don't know.
this?
This seems like something April would have posted.
That's 2mm craft foam. It's the remaining bit from I was making a bunch of scales for my Nixia armor boots and a long sheet. So they were like a bunch of like teardrop shapes all in one sheet, and I'd overlap it with another one. And so that's the negative of it. And then Bill made it into a crown.
Yeah, they were just scraps.
Yeah, I think we were low on sleep or something.
Yeah, we were losing it.
But it's made its way around the house.
Yep. All right. Thank you, Tim. You're up, Britt.
All right. This one's from Ronald. Hello, Bill and Britt. Hey, I just want to say kudos to all you guys. All that we do as a team and business, seriously cool stuff. Yay.
Yeah.
We are cool. When did you know that it was time for Brittany to join Punished Props? I don't think you ever know.
No, people ask me the same thing. When did I know it was time? Or what? Like, oh, it must have been quite a decision. I didn't really decide. I just kind of threw caution to the wind and went for it.
It was Bill had a lot of work building up that he wasn't having time to complete. So that was huge.
You know what, I'm going to turn this around. All right. All right.
Okay. Hopefully they can still hear us.
Yeah. I'm the loud one.
You project.
Yeah.
A lot. You should see him and his twin brother Rob when they get together.
It's noisy.
No one can sleep through that. But yeah, no, it was just one of those things where what I was doing at work was fine, but I found that what I really like to do is just help other people. Like I'm a support class when it comes to my job. And I really wanted to help build his business. So he just had a lot of work piling up and I was like, all right, I'll try this for a few months. And if it works out, then let's keep doing it. And so far I haven't run out of work to do.
That's right. In fact, there's more.
Yeah. A lot of like social media, like analytic stuff, a lot of website stuff, just stuff that we never set up.
Yeah.
And just being able to track all that's been huge.
For me, it's been, especially over the last couple of years as things keep building. If there's like 10 things I need to do, number 1 through 3 always get done, the highest priority stuff. And then they keep getting replaced with other high priority stuff. So numbers 4 through 10 never get looked at. And it's all stuff I need to do, but it's just never top of the list. Having Britt here means I can take a lot of that stuff and say, why don't you try that out? Why don't you check it out? So it's been great to get those things knocked off the list. And I guess it's nice to have you around, I suppose.
We haven't gotten sick of each other yet, but we'll see.
Not yet, no. All right, thank you, Ronald, for your question. Okay, this is John wants to know. It says, how much creative reuse of found items versus custom fabrication do you use in the average prop these days? Most of everything we make is from scratch.
Yeah.
Personally, I have a hard time kit bashing and not still seeing the original thing it was made out of. And I find that very unsatisfying. But also, we build stuff from video games. And while they may take a lot of inspiration from real world items, for the most part, it's all made from scratch in the video game. So for us to recreate it, we have to make something completely from scratch.
Yeah, I think the only thing I just purchase anymore and modify is clothing and electronics. Because just some electronics is just the kits are so much cheaper than if I did it myself. Right.
Especially considering the time you might put into it. Yeah. Thank you, John, for your question. Britt?
Sue says, best glue cement for connecting EVA foam and ripstop nylon, which I assume is nylon webbing.
Probably.
Yeah. It sounds like it because you can't rip that stuff.
I like hot glue.
Yeah.
For that. Yeah. If I'm connecting it to the back of a piece of floor mat, or foam or any kind of EVA foam, I will score the foam a little bit in like a crisscross pattern so that it has the hot glue has something to grip on. I'll lay down the hot glue. I'll stick the nylon webbing on it. And then once that's cooled enough, I'll go around the edge of the foam like this to keep the edges sort of tacked down.
Yeah, and that's great for like if you're doing Velcro, instead of doing that same method with the Velcro, attach the Velcro to the strap, the nylon strap.
So sew the Velcro with like a sewing machine to a nylon webbing strap.
Because those nylon webbing straps love to stick to foam if you do it in that method.
Yeah, but the Velcro not so much.
No.
In fact, I have that on it's on there, my Draugr costume on the chest piece, the Velcro back there. I've re-hot glued several times because it just isn't holding. It's not withstanding the test of time. So there you go. Use some hot glue. Thank you, Sue. This next one is, let's see here. Oh, we have a bunch of things that came in. This one's from Jackie. Jackie says, have you considered streaming on the new creative part of Twitch so you can have interactive chat? No, and I'll tell you why. We currently are under contract with Machinima, so we're stuck on YouTube for now. For less than a year, though. We don't have a ton of time left. We do want a chat room, though.
Yes, I would love a chat.
Right, so we're working. That's another behind-the-scenes thing that Brittany's working on. It'll probably be like an IRC chat that we have on punishedprops.com. Everyone can come in and join it. It'll be running constantly, so people can use it whenever they want. But we want you guys to be able to interact with one another during the live stream, as well as submitting questions for the show. So that's coming soon, as soon as we figure it out.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that the Patreon helps support, is just all this support to help us continue to stream more. And I would love just to have a chat that anyone can hop in at any time and just talk cosplay. It'd be really sweet. And we've seen some of our friends do that before with their other networks, so it can be done.
Yeah, so we're working on that. Don't worry, Jackie. And we want that. We want that. I know you guys think that having a chat would be cool, and we do too.
I don't know, though. Twitch has that order pizza app I heard about.
Yeah, that's
that would
pretty
be nice.
Cool, too. All right, thank you, Jackie. Let's see here. Sam. Oh, wait, no, one from you, Britt.
Oh, I get to do one. Oh, one is from Wendy.
Hi, Wendy.
When coming up with ideas for how to do stuff on various projects, Jay and I will sometimes get into lively debates on the best method material to use. Is this something that you and Britt experience too? Or is one of you the boss with the final word?
That never happens. Wendy. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's adorable. I think every couple that cosplays that helps each other with their costumes has to deal with that.
Yeah.
With us though, it's more of a business, so it's a little bit different.
Right. We go back and like if we're working on like our Draugr costumes or costumes for us that are that we're both working on. The Draugr is a good example because like Britt did the fabrication on the helmet, I did the armor, we went back and forth on a lot of that stuff. There was a little bit of debate back and forth. For something like a commission for a client, that's a different story. I may go to Britt for an input if I have it, but for the most part, that's where I have the final say.
Yeah, Bill still is in charge of most of the business side of Punished Props,
Right.
so he handles the commissions. He has way more experience than I do. Because I mean, like, all I've made is stuff in my free time. He's been doing this as a living for a couple years now. It's coming up on your anniversary, isn't it, for your business?
That was April 19th.
Oh.
So 3 years I've been doing this full time.
We missed it.
I remembered.
We should have celebrated.
I was in California,
Oh,
though.
that's right. But yeah, it's if I'm working on my own project for my own thing, I'll usually just putt around by myself and only ask for help when needed. But otherwise, I defer to Bill for build stuff.
We also know what one another's. Brittany and I have known each other for quite a long time. It's not like I didn't just pick her up off the side of the street a couple of years ago. So we know what one another's strengths are, and it's not a matter of like butting heads. Sometimes it does, but for the most part, if I have a thing that I need advice on, I will go ask her for it and vice versa. And then each of us knows not to try and tell the other one what the best thing is to do. And sometimes I'm not that good at it. Sometimes I pipe up when I know I should shut up.
I know one of the things we might do for, I think even for PAX Prime panel is to have couples who cosplay together and their trials as they build and work together. Yeah. And also all the benefits. Yep. Just having an extra set of hands is so handy. Yeah. You like if you glue both of your hands to something. Who would do that? I mean, come on. This one right here. All right. Thank you, Wendy, for your question. Hope you and Jay have a fun evening. Actually, they're going to C2E2, so you guys enjoy your weekend. I think their costumes are done too. Wendy was saying that they are all set. Which awesome. Get some sleep. Yeah. I wish I was going, but alas, I am not. All right. This next one is from Evan. It says, watched your video the other day making the Destiny knife. Thank you, Evan. And you clear coated before you did your weathering. Do you always clear coat and then weather and clear coat again? I usually do just for safety. Because if you use similar paints, so let's say I paint my whole prop with acrylic paint and then I weather it with more acrylic paints, those acrylic paints can mix and strip the layer below them. So, and the spray paint I used, I wasn't really sure what type of paint it was, so I just hit it with a clear coat. Clear coats are designed to protect your paint underneath from other layers that go above it. So that's why I did that. That is good. There we go. For stencils too. It's always good to clear coat before you stencil. Yeah. And then if you pull up a layer below it, you just pull up a little bit. Or like masking in general. If you're gonna be masking any part, clear coat before that, because I may have pulled off some paint at one time. Yeah, it happens. So no, I don't always do it, but it is a pretty good practice. It really just depends, because sometimes your clear coat paint will change. Especially if you have metallic paints, it'll change the sort of shininess of it, the sheen, that metallic sheen. So you may not want to do a lot of that. So, but that's why I did it for that particular project. All right, thank you, Evan. Other one over here. Sada is wondering, their husband wants to join me in becoming a husband-wife cosplay team as well. Any tips on how to get started working as a team? Do you guys specialize on certain tasks or just your own projects? Or do you both do a little bit of everything? I think it's important for each person to kind of own part of the project. Again, Brittany did the helmets for the fabrication, at least for our draugrs, those creepy things hiding behind us. And that was cool. I had other projects I was working on at the time as well. So Britt said, all right, fine, I'll just start on the helmets. And she could run off and work on that mostly by herself without having to consult me. And then, which is also really good, because then you don't end up having the case where you have to wait for one person before you can finish your thing. Yes. So yeah, totally. Just maybe. So she did the helmets for both our costumes. And I didn't, and then my helmet was done. Hooray! And while I was working on the armor. Yeah, so it is good to know how to use all the tools and do all the things, but when you're working on a project, to pick apart, and don't be like, I'm the painting guy, and just sit and wait for everything to get ready for paint, because that's just wasting time. And it's important to know how to do everything in case something takes longer than expected and the other person needs help, like dremeling all the little divots in all our armor. We did the same thing with the helmet, so we were kind of like trading on and off by both doing that. So I did the divots on the helmet, and you did them on the helmet.
Right.
Because otherwise your hand would fall off. That thing takes forever.
Your hand gets all vibraty and it's like tingly.
You start to lose feeling in your fingertips if you use a Dremel too long.
So, yep, just trade off. Everyone do a little bit of something, but find a piece of the project you can own. All right, thank you, Sada. See, this next one goes from Veggio Coke. I did my best. I'm sorry.
See, I got the real name ones because mine are from Facebook questions.
Yeah,
so I got the easier ones.
This one, he says he wants to cosplay the Raptor. Oh, this from the Raptor, or from something from RuneScape, and he wants to know how to make this gigantic shield right here.
That is a gigantic shield.
That is a big shield.
It is. It comes up. It's pretty much comes up to his shoulder. That's whew.
Well, I will tell you what, you don't want that to be too heavy, especially if you're going to carry it around a convention. It's probably another good case where you would use something like EVA foam. It would have a bit of flex to it, which would be nice. That thing's rather thick, like at least an 1.5 to 2 inches thick. So you may have to laminate a lot of layers together, but you totally do that.
Although just the edge could be thick because it has it has a nice little band around the outside of it. So,
yeah, this band right here.
And that's all the people are going to see. So you could have some braces on the inside, but don't make the whole thing that thick.
Yeah.
Also, for transporting, that would be
yeah, if you're going to end up flying to a convention, that is going to be really hard to bring because it doesn't look like you could split it up very well. If you're going to drive there, then awesome. Like put it on the roof.
Or make some intentional seams. Just modify the design.
Yeah.
And have it come apart.
I think that's a shoulder.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or, I mean, something like insulation foam.
Yeah.
I've seen that done. You'd probably want to seal it with something like, can you put Blasty Dip on that? I don't know if that eats it or not. Probably not. Anyway, you've got some options, but something lightweight for sure.
Yes.
All right, cool. Thank you, Vigo Coke. To you, Britt.
All right. Let's see. So many good questions.
Yes.
Tim says, hey, Bill and Britt, so cool to see you two finally working together.
We've been working together behind the scenes a lot. Just FYI.
My question is branding related. Why did you choose the name Punished Props? And what are some good strategies to consider when developing an identity for your business?
All right, first go read the book, The Origin of Brands. We'll put a link to that in the description. If you want to know about branding per se, branding is more than just making a logo and picking a name. The name Punished Props is just a silly thing. I mean, I had a photography blog for a long time called Punished Pixels, which if I believe forwards just to punishedprops.com now. punishedpixels.com. And yeah, it just goes to punishedprops.com.
Hey.
So that is now defunct. It was the idea that you could manipulate pixels in your photo to bend them to your will.
Before Bill made props, he wanted to just do photography.
Yeah.
He would go on a lot of photo shoots, which you still do.
Mm-hmm.
It's become very useful for a prop maker that can take pictures of their own work.
Yep.
But that was, you were really big into like the Photoshop aspect. So the punishing the pixels.
Yeah. So I made a prop blog and I just called it, actually it's props.punishedpixels.com was the URL for a long time. But I was like, oh, we'll call it Punished Props. No, there we go. Like I seriously did not think about it. I was like, oh, this prop thing probably won't take off.
Well,
that's it now.
That's something you learn in the book, The Origin of Brands, is how brands will break off different parts and rename them completely.
It will diverge.
Yeah, and you start to see how all companies work that way. But like there isn't like a orange Coke. There is a different version that is owned by Coke. That's orange soda. And it's important to name everything different like that.
When it comes to the strategy for developing an identity for your business, whatever it is you want your business to be identified as. So, for example, when people think about punished props, they probably think, prop maker, video games, and tutorials, because that's most of what I do. The only reason why people might think that, and the identity of my brand only really exists in the brains of the people who consume my content. The only way to do that is to and we're talking over years, consistently behaving in a way that you want to exude. Mm-hmm. So, like, I'm an author now. I write books. The only way I can be known for that is A, if I get my books out there a lot, but also B, if I do that for a long time. I mean, consistently. I didn't put out one book and say, I'm an author now, everyone. Just think that when you think of me, think ebook guy. I kept making more books. I just kept selling them, putting them out the door. Mm-hmm. So that consistency over a long period of time is what develops those brands.
Yeah, and it is something that develops over time. It's really hard to get everything figured out and not change as you go. So you'll just yeah, and it's like, it doesn't even have to be a name that means something. You look at a lot of video game company names like Naughty Dog, and you're like, now that if you know the company, you hear that and you're like, oh, Uncharted. Like,
right.
That's just they made a really good product, and their name doesn't matter because it forms a product in your mind. Same
thing with punished props. I think it's a silly name that I made up on the fly, but that name is now associated with everything that I do. So the name itself doesn't really matter all that much.
It's too late to change. Yeah. Too late.
So long as it's not like vulgar.
Well, even that, I mean, in some instances would probably be fine.
Yeah. But Starbucks means nothing. The word itself means nothing, but everyone knows what Starbucks means. There you go. Thank you, Tim. Right? Mm-hmm. Tim, yes. All right. This next one's from Justin. Justin says, does Britt get her own really messed up orangish sweatshirt to wear now that she's a legit employee? I don't know. I think you should work on that.
I don't know. Maybe I should get my own.
You like this?
My own color.
This shirt. I need to get rid of this shirt. It is really gross.
It's we were watching Adam Savage build. He was painting a figurine, and he had a towel over his shoulder and would paint and then wipe it on the towel and wipe on the towel. And I was like, Bill, you just do that on your shirt.
Like, how about that? That is clever.
You should use a towel.
I'm wearing a towel. I don't care. I don't go outside.
I do have an oversized Boston sweatshirt that I wear, but it's too big to wear in the shop. I've already got it caught in the Dremel before.
Yeah, it's so good.
So you need more tight-fitting clothes. So
that one's not even close to dirty enough.
No, that used to be a very different color.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Justin. Let's see. We've got about 15 minutes left here. We'll keep rolling. There's plenty of great questions left. Boop.
Fearless Facade says, hey, Bill and Britt. Couple related questions. With all the crazy awesome prop happenings that go off between the two of you, how do you find a nice balance between work and play? Cheers.
We basically work until we're exhausted, and then we go watch Daredevil.
It helps that we both have the same hobby interests. Mm-hmm. We both love video games, and Daredevil is
yeah.
And we might just have to rewatch that.
Probably. And Top Gear.
Yeah. It depends on the season. Especially around Dragon Con, we usually don't have any downtime. There's just so much to get done. In the winter, we'll usually pick up a new show. We're horribly behind on everything, so that's convenient for Netflix. Game of Thrones, we're still...
Yeah, we got to get caught up on Game of Thrones. That'll probably be... We should watch that tonight. Yeah.
One thing, I mean, I think it's because we used to play World of Warcraft. We haven't done that in years. And I think without that kind of addicting game, we never eat into our work time. So that's never a problem. It's the eating into the fun time that we have to manage.
Right.
Because you don't want to work like 18-hour days and you just become a miserable, horrible person. Mm-hmm. And it just depends. Like,
we do that, but we'll take a weekend off and go like hang out with our friends and we do it sometimes. I mean, not this weekend, obviously. I have a lot of work to do.
Actually, you have to go to a baby shower this weekend.
I do?
Yes. Sorry.
Oh.
Our friends are making us be social. It's great. So
damn it.
Friends are good. They help pull you away from the work. Like I think we have a date to go see the Avengers next week. The new one on next Thursday. So That'll be fun.
I guess I could carve out some time for the Avengers. All right. Thank you, Fearless Facade. Let's see. This next one here comes from Kit Valkyrie. That's cool.
No, it's Kat.
Kat.
She's the one with the awesome hunter.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You just can't read because it was tiny text.
I just moused over the picture. That's awesome. She had World of Warcraft hunter?
Yeah.
At Emerald City Comic Con. Let's see here. She says, similarly to the big shield dude, I'm planning to make a shield for a Diablo Crusader next year. I've heard of someone heat shaping insulation foam. Is that a thing? I've never tried it. I get the feeling that insulation foam will warm up and then reach a certain point when it just melts.
It sounds horribly dangerous.
It really does.
Maybe try it outside. With a tiny piece.
Yeah,
tiny
do
chunk.
a small scale test with a thinner piece. You can get it in different thicknesses. So we just bought some that's like 2 inches thick.
Yeah.
I would try with like 1 inch thick or less. Heat it up just a little bit. The problem is the really thick piece. You got to heat it up a lot for that heat to penetrate the entire piece. Then the surface is going to melt before the back of it is soft enough to bend. But I've never heard of anyone doing that before. But how about this? You give it a try, small scale test. You get back to us.
Take video.
Yeah.
And put it up on your page, and we'll see it.
Cool. Thank you, Kat. Over there.
Oh, it's my turn. Oh, it's Scott.
And our buddy Scott, Doc Steamcrunk.
Yeah. He been.
We didn't even open the drawer. All right.
What is your favorite meal and adult beverage to have together?
I don't know if it's favorite, but last week we went down the street to the bar and they had a special on pork ribs.
Yeah, it was like half price pork rib Tuesdays or something.
That was pretty good.
It was
so
magical.
We got a full rack of ribs and we put it between the two of us, and then we went Lady and the Tramp on. They just went with a couple pints of beer. That was pretty good.
Yeah, we don't really have specific favorite beers because we're in the Pacific Northwest and we're spoiled. There's so many good breweries around here and Oregon.
Scott knows that though.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, he visits us. So we just usually go to a store called Total Wine and More and skip around all happily through aisles and aisles of beer and pick out different ones to try.
It's a magical, wonderful name.
Yeah.
It's also occasionally it's like, hey, you know what sounds awesome right now? Qdoba. Actually, you know what sounds awesome right now?
Qdoba. Hey, we don't have any plans for dinner. Don't let the Frog Pants community hear you talking about Qdoba though. He's also the fitness geek.
Yeah.
Qdoba.
All right, thank you, Scott. Let's see. This next one comes from Dustin. Earlier, you said something about vacuum forming a visor for a helmet. If you know next to nothing about vacuum forming, what would be a good way to get started on the path to learning about it? You're in good luck here. I'm going to find something for you, though. Go to the Stan Winston School. And I don't know why this page isn't loading. There it is. So the Stan Winston School has a bunch of really great video tutorials. Fawn did one. So I'll look up Fawn. Here we go. And all right, this is perfect.
Oh yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah. So Stan Winston School of Character Arts, it's just stanwinstonschool.com. Look up Fawn Davis, F-O-N space D-A-V-I-S. And there is a tutorial right here to build a little vacuum form table. The stream is like $40. It is a steal. That is such a good price for such wonderful information. So just go buy that and watch it and you'll be good to go.
Yeah, or even if you're just wondering what the process is like, if it's something you want to get into, just search around on YouTube for vacuum forming videos. I think we did one for your shield, just a little quick video. It probably disappeared into the land of YouTube.
Probably. That was terrible.
It
didn't turn out great.
Well, we were using our oven, which
don't use your oven.
Don't use your oven to heat the plastic. But this is, I mean, vacuum forming has been around for ages. They use that in the original Star Wars movies. So there are better ways to make your own vacuum form table.
Yep. We'll put a link in the description to the this tutorial of this one. And again, guys, you may think like $40 for a video. It's like, trust me, it is worth it. Thank you, Dustin. Britt?
Lee says, I am making a custom design for my first EVA armor build. Do you think that is helpful since you have no limitations or hindrances as you have no guides? I think in that situation, if you're doing an original character, it's beneficial because if something doesn't turn out and you don't get it done in time, no one will know. And you can change something halfway through to make it look cooler because all of a sudden you realize you want to do it differently. But you want to still make templates, right? Like to use for later
right,
projects.
Especially if you have any pieces on your costume that are going to be symmetrical anyway. I would make template pieces. You can also, I would design it first, like on paper, and then try and match that design.
Yeah, but if you don't match it, no one will know.
Yeah, no one will know. Yeah, you can make modifications along the way, and no one else will know that you didn't match the reference. So definitely, if being worried about matching a reference really well, is keeping you from starting a build, then go and just make your own thing, design your own thing.
The nice thing about using existing characters is sometimes there's already templates available, so that can be helpful as well. If it's a really well-known character and people have made it before, you can kind of watch their how-to videos or their build if they put it up on their website and just follow along. So that's good too.
That is good too. There's pros and cons, like most things. All right, thank you, Lee. This next one is from Gilbert Tees. Says, my brother and I team up on projects and sometimes argue on projects and how it should look, color, size, and shape. Working your wife have the same problems. We kind of touched on this earlier. When it comes to like the look and size and shape, believe it or not, Brittany and I both went to school together for art, 3D modeling, and animation. So we have like the same training when it comes to most artwork type stuff. So when it comes to like the look and feel of things and the matching references, we're both like equally good at that. So very rarely do we argue in general. Should I say, very rarely do we disagree on things like that. Would you agree?
I would agree.
We actually did a 3D modeling project for a long time, for about a year and a half, where we did a lot of 3D modeling working off of references. And we both learned a lot about matching references, where we would say we're done with a piece and we would show our art director, hey, look, it's done. And the art director would circle all the places where it was wrong. No, it doesn't match here. It doesn't match here. And that skill is probably more valuable now than it was back then, since I try and build stuff from a video game. And we're both trained to see whether or not we've matched, the form of something, the color of something, the texture of something, all the things that make something a really good replica. There we go. All right, we have another one over there.
Yes, we do. I will not. Well,
Imantas. Nailed it.
What is the best material for making a katana for a samurai costume? I know someone who's working on a katana.
I'm working on a really big katana. It's going to be done very soon, I promise. I made the blade part out of poplar wood. For that particular one, I went with like a 1/2-inch one, but a katana would probably be closer to a 1/4 inch thick of poplar wood. You want a wood that's got a wood grain in it because it's going to be sturdier. Something like MDF would probably break.
Yeah, our Draugr, both weapons, the sword and the axe, were made out of poplar.
Yeah.
And I thought for sure I was going to break the sword, but it is sturdy and it's light. It is so much lighter than some of my other pieces.
Make sure the grain is running the length of the blade, though. Something I learned when I did the bow out of wood. And that's actually a really good example. That was my own design, and some of the parts were a little bit weaker than others. And when they broke, I just modified the design. And no one was the wiser except for all of you.
It got cooler is what happened. You added more awesomeness to it.
There you go. Thank you, individual.
Wood.
This next one is... this one's from Core Geek. This is from Eric. He says expanded polystyrene foam melts instantly when heat is applied. All right, good to know, Eric.
No, Kat, don't try it. No, you're still listening.
Don't go try heat forming your insulation foam. Sorry.
I love how he knows and he doesn't say why.
Well, no, Eric knows, so he probably tried it.
Well, yeah, if he doesn't, no explanation. Just says it does.
All right, this next question is from Alex. What sort of materials and tools would you recommend for a broke teenager with a very minimal budget? Used tools are a good place to start.
Yes.
Look on Craigslist for used tools.
It's amazing how many people just don't want, and like they get a bunch of tools. I think they're going to do a project. I mean, and they just sits in their garage for years.
Yeah.
And then they just sell them in like bulk. Usually you can get good deals that way.
And a lot of tools, especially manual tools like hand saws and stuff, they don't break over time. They continue to work. Even like a bandsaw from the 1950s will still work. It does one thing. It's got a motor that spins. Like, they don't break. So you can even get, you may look like a belt sander from 1972, but as long as it still spins, it does the one thing it was designed to do, it's still good. And you can frequently get those cheap used on Craigslist.
Or try and go in with your friends on some projects. If there's a workspace that one of your friends has, be like, hey, can I use your stuff if I supply some other thing? That's a good way to manage costs if you're looking into getting tools. If not, X-Acto knife gets you pretty far.
Yeah.
just one tool.
A sharp knife. A Dremel is pretty versatile. If you're gonna put the money into it, spend like $40 or $50 on a good Dremel tool. And then another little note from Eric. He was making a Loki horn, and he melted the polystyrene horn, covering it with Worbla on the first try.
Oh, that makes sense. I did a similar process I used expanding foam for the Draugr horns and wrapped them in Worbla. I didn't heat them enough, so like they're not as stuck together as, that was our first Worbla thing.
Yeah, but also the foam you're using is a urethane.
Yes.
And that's not going to melt the way that polystyrene would.
But that was one of my concerns. I forgot about that, was that I would actually melt the horns that I just made.
Yeah. All right, another one over here.
Our Space Clown Studios. I know this name. Many thanks for the Prop Live Q&A. My question about finishing edges. When beveling multiple layers of foam that have been cemented together using a Dremel and or sanding sticks, I'll often have a hard line at the seam. Is there a tooling method to eliminate that join line, or is it something that can only be covered during sealing and painting? Actually, I talked to Will about this earlier, this question, but you can go ahead.
Yeah, well, what you're talking about is like those seam lines. You can see those pretty good. The seam lines in between the layers there. There you go.
Yes, and I asked Will, because he just did a tutorial on how to Dremel sandwiched foam like that. And he's like, hey, you end up with seams.
You do a little bit.
If you seal it enough, like that one was only 2 coats of Plastidip?
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can fill in the seam if you use a nice covering of Barge and it's like evenly distributed. You get very minimal seams. I made the mistake of trying to heat seal after I had a bunch of sandwich foam that was on my Nixia horn, and the seam separated.
Right.
It made them worse. That was you want to heat seal before you do that.
If you can sand that with like a belt sander afterwards, that'll help a little bit. If you're really, really picky about those seams not showing up, then you're going to have to seal a lot with like if you covered it in Epsilon, let's say, and you were able to actually sand it down a lot. The
nice thing about Plastidip is it doesn't fill in your crevices, but that's also kind of a bummer with seams that. Wood glue fills them in really well. I noticed, or any other like Epsilon.
Thank you, Space Clown. The last question here we'll take from Jacob. He says, have you thought of having Britt supplement the current Punished Props videos? She has a few write-ups and would love to see the progress on the Vex Goblin, which is her next costume that she's working on. I don't know. You want to be in some videos?
Sure.
All right. Done.
Yeah. I'm all for live streaming some of it. Some of it, like the costume itself, like I would love to live stream because I have it figured out. Like we made stuff kind of like this before. I've 3D modeled most of it on a body form of myself in a 3D program, so I know it's kind of going to fit. The gun, I don't know if I want to stream because I'm doing it all out of styrofoam and it may fail horribly. And it might even
But
just,
that'll be great content.
yeah, as long as you watch the whole thing and you're following along like, oh, this is working great. And then all of a sudden it goes wrong.
Yeah. Basically, we still don't really know, like, I don't really know what my job is. So we still don't quite know where Britt fits into all of this. So we're trying lots of things out, including, if Britt wants to, we'll throw in some videos, see how it goes.
Yeah, well, I would love to do more live streaming in the shop. If our Patreon keeps going up like it has been, we'll be able to devote more time to that. That's
a great segue, Britt. That's patreon.com/punishprops. We have a goal coming up, $150 per week of content will allow us to do more shows, live streaming from the shop.
We're so close to that goal too. That's awesome.
We are. So if you can and you want to help out, head on over there and throw a little money at the Patreon. That's it, everybody. Thank you very much for showing up to the show this week and all of your wonderful questions. You guys always bring such great questions. It makes for really good content on the show. Britt?
Thank you, guys. So that's it. That's
all
I got.
All right, cool. Well,
check out our stuff at punishprops.com.
You got it. And that's it, everyone. We'll see you all again next week.
See ya.